So I'm going to start with, let's see, uh, this shape here. So I'm ghosting, and I'm thinking egg, triangle, roundness. And I want to kind of be over at the side of the river. And what I am doing is I'm visualizing rock shapes, and I'm just stacking them. This one's a little flatter, a little rounder at the end. And I'm stacking them. This one's a little bit wider at the top. And this one's a little bit way rounder over here, kind of like an egg. So we're creating sort of a stack that would balance. And yeah, you could go ahead and just put one right here with a little tiny one right there that holds it. Now, does that sell? Does that look like it's going to hold? That's the key here. You could just place any type of drawing shapes. Let's go ahead and put one right here. And there's my stack of rocks. So once I have this stack of rocks that looks like it's going to hold and balance, let's put one more, just for fun, let's put one more right over here. There we go. And that looks like, okay, yeah, it could hold. Maybe, just to be sure, it kind of needs something right here. Now everybody's going to be, okay, yeah, that might look like it'll stand. So what I want to do is I want to begin maybe down here, and I'm going to grab a darker pencil. So if I drew this with an HB, I'm going to go to a 2B, and I'm going to begin to imagine the light. So the first exercise we did, remember this one? Let me show you again. We're going to play with a little bit of this. So all the lines that we did all the way through. Now what I want to do is I want to begin to just add some of that looseness. And what I'm thinking is shadows. So notice that I'm getting a little bit here, maybe a little shadow right underneath here, like a cast shadow. And there's shadow right underneath. So I could begin to see a little bit of the light. This one, definitely going to have some there. And as I develop these shadows, I want to move up. So I'm going from 2B. I'm going to switch over to a 4B. Where are you? Here's my 4B. And I'm going to add a little extra layer. So I want to create layers. And remember, these are like, they could be rocks. They could be sticks. They could be, so the texture, it could be dots. It could be squiggly lines. It could be, remember those diagonal lines, horizontal lines we did earlier? It could be just a variety of, in this case, I'm doing vertical lines. And then I'm going to add a little bit of diagonal lines. So look at that texture. And little by little, with different pencils, I'm going to try to create, already, look at that. It already looks somewhat interesting. And I'm going to maybe add a little variety of shapes or form to some of these rocks. So you're going to be playing with a little bit of line and now a little bit of value. And I want to see your creativity just explode here. Where would I place this shadow here? Don't just get stuck on one pencil. Do a little bit of a 4B here. Switch over back to the, well, why not, HB. And just go ahead and do a lot of it here. Maybe down here. Pay attention to Does that look kind of realistic with the light? If it's coming from here, would that give a shadow right there? Yep. What about this one down here? Yep, just there. But again, you don't have to follow any rules. I'm just, at this moment, I'm just filling up, notice, with an HB, which is way lighter. And then maybe going back to a 2B and adding touches, maybe just lines, scratches, dots, tapping it. See what that does. Squiggly lines, circular lines. I want to do a bunch of them here, which is just, remember that circle exercise? I'm just overlapping them. Circles, circles, circles. The more I stay in one area, the denser, darker, but the textures that it creates. Notice the differences. Each rock almost begins to have its own personality, little character. You could identify if it's a slick or grainy type of rock, marble. I want to make this one here. Let's say this one here. I'm going to make it wood. How would I do that? Well, I'm going to explore some of these curve lines that we looked at earlier. Remember? SC shapes. And I might do a variation with overlapping some of them with a little darker pencil. Maybe not going all the way through, but just halfway through. See what that does? And already, look at that. It kind of looks like that driftwood. Adding a little bit of shadow with a hard pencil, 2H. See what that does? What kind of things can I come up with as I revisit everything we did earlier? And there is no wrong. There is no way to get this wrong. The only way to get it wrong is if you go too dark and all of a sudden I see something shiny. And even then, that's not wrong. Because it could work, especially if what you're trying to do is give us a shiny rock. And there you have it. Beautiful. So, I hope you guys really enjoyed this. Lots of practice, lots of work. You can go back, revisit your favorites, but I would recommend look out for the ones that gave you a little more trouble. That way you can see where you need to do a little bit of extra work. Don't avoid them just because they're too hard. Actually, sometimes that's the one you want to work on a little more. But just always remember, it's about having fun. Finding, discovering something fun, and just going with it. So I hope this was a lot of fun, and I hope to see you at the next one.